Hey guys, welcome back to Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl, where we interview top-level MMA fighters and other experts in their fields about love, dating, romance, and that all-too-taboo subject, sex. I'm your host, Ashley, Rebel Girl, Evan Smith. Now let's talk about sex and violence. What's up, all my naughty listeners? If you guys are tuning in for the first time, welcome. And prepare yourself because we're a little different than your average MMA podcast. We talk to guests about fight preparation and nutrition, cutting weight, all that kind of stuff. But we also ask the questions that no one else wants to ask. We talk about dating, we talk about sexual preferences, we talk about love, and pretty much anything else that you're interested in, but the other interviewers are afraid to ask. So we are back here at Black Belt Collective in Huntington Beach. It's a Krav Maga gym that saved the day last week when we unfortunately had our previous studio, Tomorrow Kids Studio, catch fire. I know that sounds crazy, right? But they saved the day and we're back here. So thank you to Abel and all the people here at Black Belt Collective in Huntington Beach. Please check them out at www.huntingtonbeachselfdefense.com or at Black Belt Collective Krav Maga on Instagram. Okay, so last week we had some crazy fights. You guys know that it was a card that had 3 title fights, and so of course it was going to be exciting. It did not disappoint. I personally did a little betting with mybookie.ag because they are the best placed to place your bets. The parlay that I did, ooh, look at me using betting words. A parlay, for those of you who don't understand what a parlay is you make a bet on 2 different fights, and in order to win, they both have to hit, right? So if one of those fights, I pick right, but I don't pick the other one, I don't get the money. So my parlay was Aljamain Sterling and Megan Anderson. I wanted both of those people to win, right? Aljo, if you guys saw the fights, won the belt in the most unusual way possible. And then Megan Anderson, she did not win, and I'm not going to sit here and talk crap, but I thought maybe she would win, just because she's such a big, lengthy powerhouse of a woman. I know Amanda Nunes is the GOAT, and it was extremely unlikely, but since I'm getting into more betting situations, I'm trying to learn. I thought, okay, if I place $20 down, I could win like 200, right? Well, I lost my bet because she did not win. So, but since I am so frugal, aka cheap with my money, I still have enough in my mybookie.ag account, and I've got another chance to win this weekend. Let's take a look at this card. This card this weekend, it's UFC Fight Night. We got Edwards versus Muhammad. That's Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad. When it's a fight like this, I just don't bet on it. There's a lot of fights on this card that are, I guess you would say, even money, and so I don't know. I'll probably end up doing the same thing. Do a parlay that if you put like $5 down, maybe you can win $100. I'm scared. MyBookie.ag, they're doing a deal. And they've been doing it for a while, but you guys should check it out right now. So if you put $100 down with mybookie.ag, they'll give you 50% bonus match. So that means you get $50 extra to play with, right? Or if you throw $1,000 down, you get $500 extra free money to play. And this card this week is looking pretty good. So if you know your MMA, you got Ronnie Yaya versus Ray Rodriguez, Courtney Casey versus JJ Aldrich. I always mess up her name. Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. This is the one I'm most excited about. It was actually supposed to be on last week's card, but one of Ashley Yoder's people in her camp, one of her cornermen, got COVID, which is actually a very common thing. So they had to move the card to this weekend. So those girls are probably just itching to fight and very hungry because they've had to cut weight twice now. And Angela Hill's amazing. Ashley Yoder's very amazing as well. I think it was originally supposed to be 2 other girls. Then one girl got injured and Ashley Yoder filled in. Then the other girl got injured, and so Angela Hill. So it's just like a weird fight that's finally coming together. I'm excited to see that one. Other than that, you guys know I'm about a week out from getting back to the gym, all my rehab and stuff like that. I'm going to be still on the mend, but it's, slow and steady wins the race. I'm staying busy with talking to you guys and interviewing these awesome guests. I have one trip planned in a month. I'm going to Florida. I'm just going to check out, the area out there. Me and the boyfriend are actually going to the Craig Jones seminar. So, the boyfriend's a black belt, so it's going to be exciting for him. And I'm just going to be there watching people do leg locky stuff and not know what the hell's going on because I'm not the biggest jiu-jitsu person, but maybe I'll learn some more leg lock stuff. And I also heard, and I'm looking at all the people in the studio with me, that California is going to be opening up very soon. Did anybody else hear that? Nobody?
I heard. I did.
Okay. Well, I don't want to spread fake news, but I heard that California is going to be opening up very soon. Texas is already open. I think Florida is already open as well because they're crazy. But yeah, I'm hoping that California opens up and we can go back to normal life. But until then, we'll still be here cranking out the episodes with you guys. And we also have our Patreon still going. So if you guys want to check that out, basically you can choose $5, $50, whatever you got to offer us, we'll take it. We're always going to be a free show, but the $5 gets you early access to episodes, bonus episodes, shout outs on the podcast. You can do like Q&As or ask me anything, stuff like that. So if that's something that you're interested in, that'll be in the show notes listed below. And then, as always, don't forget, please write us a review. That helps us get in the top 200 of Apple playlists and podcasts, which just means more people get to listen to us. And then, the likelihood of us bringing you more episodes increases. So please do that. And lastly, I want to talk about our new sponsor. They came on last week, but man, they have a brand new CBD hand sanitizer. I mean, you hear about CBD bath bombs, you hear about the liquids, you hear about the tinctures, right? Everything, gummies, but CBD hand sanitizer, it's so important right now, right? We got the pandemic going on. The name is A Botanical Bloom, and if you want to check them out, they're A Botanical Bloom on Instagram and www.abotanicalbloom.com. They just have everything under the sun, but right now my favorite one is the hand sanitizer. Sorry, it's just, and most of the time if you use the hand sanitizer all the time, you kind of dries your hands out. This one is cucumber and melon, and it just, not only does it have moisture in it, but it's also smells delicious. So check them out again at abotanicalbloom.com. And if you use code AshleyMMA, you get 20% off all their products. Today's guest is a former MMA fighter turned stunt woman, model, and comic book creator. She's fought professionally for 12 years and is a 10th Planet Purple Belt under UFC fighter and 10th Planet Black Belt Anthony Birchak. She was one of the first Mexican-American atomweight fighters that Invicta FC ever signed, and she later went on to fight Combate Americas and then became a fight director for the same organization. She was ranked top 10 in the world at 105 pounds, and she won Best Stare Down with Felice Herrig by Fighters Only magazine. And when she's not working on her stunt work or modeling, she's working on the next issue of the comic book Mexica. We talk about coming out, real-life vampire love scenes, married life with an OnlyFans, belly button requests, anime porn, and reliving her first threesomes. Here is your guest, Nicdali, the Night Queen. All right, we have Nicdali with us. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm still on the mend. About probably 4 or 5 more months before I'm back to like full MMA, training, grappling, all that stuff. So I'm just filling my time talking to interesting people like you.
Oh, well, that's dope.
So I know you as the OG of the sport, but I feel like, people don't know that you've been in the sport forever. And, I know that you're retired now, but basically...
Am I?
Are you? I mean, are you still going to fight MMA? What's the status right now?
Well, right now I'm not because I'm focusing on other endeavors. But in the future, I mean, I'm still young enough that if I wanted to, if the opportunity was right and presented itself, then I would take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you're focusing on some stunt work and stuff like that. Is there are you hesitant to do both? Because obviously stunt work can be dangerous. And what if you get injured while you're doing your stunt work and then you can't, train for your fight? Is there any worries of that?
Yes, there is. That's my main concern, basically, I'm a beginner at stunt double work, and I really want to focus that until I get a little bit more headway in it and into the industry. And you know what I mean? Like I have a little bit more experience, you know what I mean? Because it did happen to me where I was training for a jiu-jitsu competition and then I got injured in jiu-jitsu and then I was out for 7 months. So I was like, okay, that lesson learned, do what you need to do in the stunt world first. And then, you know, to be a stunt double, you have to be in incredibly good shape. So it kind of goes hand in hand as far as like being in shape, like fight shape and stuff. You kind of have to be in similar kind of shape. So
Yeah, and I know you're also, you want to compete in jiu-jitsu, so if you're doing stunt work, you want to fight MMA and jiu-jitsu, how do you prioritize that? What's the most important? What do you want to focus on? Because I feel like you just said, you can't do them all at the same time because what if you get injured in one, you can't do the other, right?
right. So right now, stunt work, and then jujitsu, and then maybe MMA. You know, once there's a little bit more attention, I feel like in the 105 division. You know what I mean? Which is where I would want to compete again.
Yeah, I feel like, we all know there's no atom weight division in the UFC. So where would you want to fight? Would you want to fight for one FC over in Japan? Would you want to fight for Combate? What would be your ideal organization to fight for?
Um, Probably like Invicta or whoever pays me the most money.
That's what we're all thinking. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It would definitely be nice if the UFC added an atomweight division. And there are talks. I know that back in November, Dana White was saying that he's looking at some top prospects in the atomweight division. I don't know if you know who Elise Anderson is. We had her on the show, and
Oh yeah.
she's awesome. She's a young up and comer, needs to work on her confidence. But other than that,
Aw.
she's a sweetheart. She's young and she's just a little killer on the mat too. So I'm hoping that the atom weight opens up for her, for people like you, plus I feel
I
like,
agree. She actually was one of my main training partners for my very last MMA fight. I brought her out from where she was living at the time to Vegas, and she spent about, I can't remember exactly how long she spent with me, but I know for sure it was at least a week. It might have been 2 weeks, but yeah, so I know exactly who she is. She's amazing. I think the world of her. You know what I mean?
awesome.
I agree with you. I think she needs more confidence as well.
Yeah, yeah, but she's working on it, and you only get that through life experiences, right? Or confidence in the cage comes from more cage time, so she'll get there. But back to you. So you're working on jujitsu, you're training for MMA, probably off and on. You're not in fight camp, and you're doing stunt work.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Yeah. So okay, I'm like, oh, I thought you said, Okay. So and then I know on top of all of this stuff that you're doing, you also have a very popular OnlyFans site. Tell us about that.
Well, what do you want to know about it? I mean, do you want to know what kind of content I have? I mean,
Well, I want to know first and foremost
or
how like I think that I see you're very active, right? Like you post a lot,
right.
even on Instagram, which, I think is very smart because that leads to more subscribers on your OnlyFans. But, you're doing stunts, you're doing jujitsu, you're doing MMA. Like, how do you have time for it all?
And I'm also a hairstylist.
Yeah.
The way I balance it is, one thing I'll tell you about myself first is I've always been the type of person to do a million things all at once. Part of it was growing up as an only child. I didn't have brothers and sisters, and my mom would be like, I'd be like, Mom, I'm bored. And she'd be like, no, only unintelligent people get bored. So she would tell me, like, find things to do, occupy your time, do this or that, like, read, sports, whatever. So basically, this all stems from I've kind of been like this my whole life. But up until maybe a year ago, I didn't know how to manage my time the right way. But now I do. I know this is going to sound like kind of like cheesy or whatever, but I found out about this thing called a time book. And basically it
Time
helps you
book?
manage yes, it helps you prioritize your time. So it basically like lets you know what it's the exercises. There's exercises like you watch YouTube videos on like mentors. Like Tony Robbins is one of the videos that they have on there. And basically it just allows you to prioritize your time. So throughout the day, I'm doing multiple things a day. You know, I'm training jujitsu, I'm doing my stunt work, I'm writing my comic book, I have a client that I do their hair, and I'm also doing my OnlyFans. So that's all usually in one day. I do all of that.
That's amazing. All right. Well, you brought up your comic book. You know, you only have one issue out so far, right?
Yes.
Tell us all about
And
that.
the only reason why we have one issue is like Jillian, my business partner, illustrator, you know, we're both learning in this. It's a new venture that her and I have taken on, which she's worked on past comic books before, but only not in the capacity that she does for me. So basically she does all the illustration and does the page layout. And then I basically create the story, write it, let her know like this person says this, you know, and then all the characters I created, I want them to look like this. Can you do this? Can you do that? You know, this is their personality. Basically the whole Miss Mexica universe, like I created the concept of it. So basically the first issue was a learning curve for both of us. You know, basically learning how to manage our time so that we could create it on a schedule, and, you know, and learn how to print it and publish it and all of that. Well, we have one done, but now we're working on 2 and 3 at one time, you know.
That's great. What inspired you to do a comic book? You know, you're already doing all these things. You're managing your time pretty well, I would say. But you know, have you always been into comics or cartoons? And are cartoons the same thing as comics?
Well, I've been into comics since I was like a preteen. But I guess that's a very long time from now. And I would say the difference between a comic book reflects the dialogue or script of the characters as well as the images. Like it's more, it has more of a story, a more adult story, more of a complex story. And then cartoons can like be a funny drawing on a page or animated show. You know what I mean? It's more lighthearted, I would say.
Yeah.
Is the difference.
Yeah. And so, okay, so comic books would be more realistic and cartoons almost be a little bit more, I don't know, childish or fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Not that comic books aren't fantasy, you know, but yeah.
And so
I would say that.
You just got moved to create a comic book one day because you've liked them since you were younger?
Well, no, it's kind of okay. So the long story short, is that basically there was no, not to my knowledge, and there wasn't any Mesoamerican, and what I mean by Mesoamerican, no Mayan, Aztec, Olmec inspired comic book characters. And so growing up, I went to a lot of ancient Mesoamerican archaeological digs, and then one of my mom's good friends is an archaeologist, and so I learned some of the myths from him. And basically, and then as an adult, I went and visited, and I met some Mayan people that are still living and breathing their Mayan rituals and traditions, and so basically, the whole world doesn't really know about it. I feel and then there's a lot of misinformation on the internet about it, what goes with what, and I just wanted to create comic book characters to reflect that culture, so that it would open people's minds to those cultures.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you wanted to help educate the masses as well as add to the representation of that culture.
Exactly.
Sounds cool. That's awesome. All right, so you're doing a million things. You're killing it. Let's talk about you on a more personal level. I know you from the MMA world, but let's dig a little deeper, okay? So it's very, very forward podcast. I know. How do you identify sexually? Are you heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, pansexual? What kind of sexual are you?
I consider myself bisexual. And then also, when you get turned on by intelligence, do you know what kind of sexual that is? Yes, I consider that I'm sapiosexual as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. I didn't really realize I was that until I started dating my current boyfriend. I'm like, oh, smart. I like it. So,
You're like,
yeah.
I'm learning something new. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, bisexual, sapiosexual, what's your current dating status? Are you single? You seen anybody?
I'm married.
You're married. Okay. All right. Well, tell us about him or her.
Well, he is a double brown belt in jujitsu.
Mm,
He's a coach. He's an athlete. He's a mentor. He's my life partner,
that's
my best
rad.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you guys meet through training since he's a brown belt? You
No,
didn't? Oh,
actually, no. We met before that. When him and I first met, I was doing Muay Thai and he was doing MMA, and I had no idea. And this is back in the day when people called MMA NHB, and they were fighting bare knuckle, and there was no weight classes.
no
And
holds
anyway,
barred for people who don't know what
he,
NHB stands for.
yeah. And I went to one of his practices, and I watched, and I was just doing Muay Thai kickboxing. And I went and I watched one of his training sessions, which was the Lions in Tulsa under Mikey Barnett. And I watched him train. He probably at the time, because he was young, he was like, I don't know, he was young. Anyway, he didn't weigh very much, but everyone was like 200 pounds or more, and like he just got his butt kicked. And then afterwards, all his homies were like, or all his training partners were like, hey, would you want to do it? And I was like, heck no, there's no chance in hell I would ever do that. So yeah, we didn't meet doing that. But one of the things that attracted me about him was like, he was into working out, and that was like basically my whole life, because before I did MMA, I played basketball and track since I was like 8 years old. So I just wanted someone that would like work out with me every day and like kind of be on that hustle.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So I like
important
that.
whether it's fitness or art or music, right? We always want to share the passion with our partner.
Exactly.
Okay, something just popped in my head, and I maybe it's because my brain is thinking very traditionally, but you're married and you have an OnlyFans. I haven't talked to a lot of guests that we have a lot of people on here, a lot of guests that have OnlyFans, but usually they're single or they're just dating around. I've yet to talk to someone who's married and has an OnlyFans. How does your partner
Right.
how does your partner feel about that?
Oh my God, you're so funny. He's actually the one who talked me into doing it.
What? Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself out there like that. And he's like, well, you've always wanted to do Playboy, haven't you? And I was like, well, yeah, I have. And he's like, well, like, you're not going to look like this forever, And he's like, well, do what you want. He's like, but think about it. And then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, you're right. He was right. Like, I'm not going to look like this when I'm 80, 90, 100 years old, And, why not? Like, why not? Like, I've had such a good connection with my fans. Why not, like, share that? Like, be able to, have
Yeah.
that.
I mean, that's very cool of him, I mean, like I said, it's like more of like my traditional thinking brain is like males would feel some sort of way, whether it's jealous or insecure or territorial, like, hey, this is my woman, or,
Yeah.
I don't want her all over the interwebs.
No.
But he's not like
Yeah.
that.
Not at all. I mean, I think it helps that when he first met me, I was modeling. You know what I mean? So I like one of the things he saw me do was like a bikini runway show and like some bikini runway modeling or bikini mannequin modeling. And I think, I've always kind of wanted to be in Playboy, and that's always kind of been a part of my life. So if he wouldn't be cool with it, I've had past exes that were like, oh my God, I could never be with you because you're too good looking. You have all these dudes like after you and blah, blah, blah. Like I love the freedom. I like being free. Put me in a cage and I'm going to fucking crawl out of it. You can't do that to me. I'm too free.
For sure.
So we have a lot of freedom.
That's always an issue, right? When you start dating someone and you are the way you are, and then somewhere along the way they decide that you can't be that way anymore, and unless you're extremely submissive, you're going to put your foot down because, well, you and I specifically are alpha females, and we're going to say, no, you can't fucking
Hmm.
change me, so it's my way or the highway. And I know that relationships, you have to compromise, there's give and take, but if you were doing runway shows and bikini modeling before, this is probably, I mean, it's a little different, right? But, well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. How different is it? Are you just showing bikini pictures? Are you showing your titties? Are you showing everything? Is it,
Showing your titties.
like,
Sorry.
what do you put on there? Like, is it, because I know that there's a spectrum, right? You get people that are just doing bathing suit shoots, and then you got people doing full on porn.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say mine's kind of in between. So I do implied nudity, or like the way that I guess I would let you know more about it is it's like maximum and like the ESPN bodies issue. Like you will see my whole body naked except for like basically the naughty bit. You know what I mean?
Got
But
it.
every
Okay.
now and then, I'll be like a nip slip here and there, like part of it, I won't ever show like full on, I
Yeah.
might in the future, just not right now. You know
Got
what I
it.
mean?
Okay.
I'm good. You see my butt cheeks. There's modeling pictures of my butt cheeks. There's selfies of my butt cheeks. My butt cheeks on all angles.
Okay. I mean, and that's like even a nipple. Some guys wouldn't be cool with that. So I still think it's pretty cool of your dude to be okay with that and encourage you to, express your sexuality basically however you want.
Oh yeah, it's so empowering. It's so empowering, and then it's made me realize like how powerful being a woman really is, and how misguided we are as young ladies, or at least I was, like, oh, sexuality is bad and blah, blah, blah. And like all this, and it's made me realize like, wow, if we would teach young women to embrace their sexuality, how different things could be for us.
Yeah. What is something that you would change? What do you know now about your sexuality that you wish you would have known back then when you were younger? What would you tell your younger self?
Oh man, that it's okay to be bisexual. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Like that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. I grew up in a traditional Hispanic family where that was that was not okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At all.
When did you finally
So
come to this realization that, bisexuality is not the devil?
when I became 18 and I just like did some soul searching, and I left my house and just basically, got to experience the world outside of my parents' house. And I really saw that, it's not the devil. It's just a difference in opinions. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be the devil to some people, but that's your opinion. You know what I mean? That's what's great about life is everyone's entitled to live it the way they want to.
Yeah, dang. Well, I'm sorry you had to feel that way as a a kid and a teen. That's awful. Did you have, you did, so you obviously didn't have any parents or family members that were supportive. What was your family life like other than that? Were things pretty good? I mean, you're so productive, you're so successful in all these different areas. It seems like you might have had a great upbringing.
Well, my mom did the best that she could, coming from like I was born in Mexico, so we migrated over here. And one thing I forgot to mention to you the other day when we were talking was, I did have a good childhood. Once I got to America, basically when I was a little girl, my father kidnapped me from my mother and had me, basically my mom didn't know where I was for a year. And he would switch me to different houses or whatever, and then basically to like escape his oppression, she basically met and married my stepdad. And my stepdad, he's American, and basically they brought me over here, and I basically had one of the best. I feel like I had a really good childhood other than getting bullied in school, and then they ended up getting a divorce just because things didn't work out between them. but he's still in my life. He's my dad. You know, he raised me. And then she married some other jerk that, you know, basically almost killed her, pushed her down the stairs. Like, you know, so that's one of the reasons why I drive so hard is like, I want to be a better example for younger women and for her as well. I want her to be proud of me, that her sacrifice coming here to America and leaving like a good life with my grandmother's family over there. They have ranches, they have cattle, they have all this stuff like that. It was worth coming here for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So you did see your mom kind of go through some domestic violence situations when you were younger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest reasons why I decided to take up martial arts, because I said to myself, I will never let a man do that to me, to put hands on me like that. I will not tolerate that.
Did the bullying that you just mentioned, did that have anything to do with you getting into mixed martial arts as well?
No, yes. Basically, I got bullied because I was the only Latino kid in my school, and, you know, I had a boy punch me in the face.
Whoa.
And then can you believe that?
At what age?
And I was 10. I was 10.
Dang.
Yeah, it's funny. He is on my Instagram. He'll slide into my DMs every now and then. He'll be like,
what?
Yeah, he's a rapper. He's a rapper now, but he'll slide into my DMs sometimes. He's like, man, I really wish I would have treated you better back then. I'm sorry, like, for punching you in the face. Like,
Did that happen a lot, or was that just one isolated incident where you got punched in the face? Like, were you physically bullied a lot? I know nowadays it's more like texting and virtual bullying, which is still bad, right? But like, sucks to get punched in the face.
Well, no one put hands on me, but they would tease me constantly for like being brown. They would call me dirty and just say Mexican jokes and just constantly. And then my mom got sick of it. She got sick of it because I'd come home crying. She's like, "Nicdali, I'm sick of this." She's like, "Next time, if you don't fight back, if you come home crying, I'm gonna whoop you, like give you a spanking." I know that people don't do that anymore, but you know, traditional Latino house. Anyway,
I got whooped and spanked.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did you really?
my grandma would spank me with a wooden spoon, and yeah, and then like she never used it, but she would, you know, when you fold a belt in half and you like make that snapping noise, she'd be like, "I'm gonna whoop your ass," like make this, and I'm like, "Ah!" You know, like just like that was enough to make me like, and I was like, "All right, I'll do whatever you want." So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't have kids, but I feel like if I ever did, I'm a firm believer in the spoon.
I agree. Some act right. That's what I call it.
The act right.
Act right in
You
your life.
need an act right. Yeah. Some grown ass people need an act right too, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So how'd the bullying stop? Did you pick up the martial arts and then start kicking ass in school?
So basically I got into watching boxing with my stepdad at the time. And then like I was like practicing in my room. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like practicing in my room and like just like in my mind, like practicing it. And then so then like a few weeks later, one of the bullies like got in my face and like was just saying all these names, and I was like, you know what? Meet me at so and so corner, like where kids would meet to fight, you know, back in the day.
Were you the first
And
Catch Me
then,
Outside girl? Is that what you're telling me?
I guess so. So it was a bus stop, of course. And so as soon as the bus left, we got off, and then like I just tried to mimic what I saw, and I ended up beating the crap out of her. And then after that, no one messed with me ever again.
That's
It was
usually,
great.
yeah, I mean, like, I know nowadays it's like, you know, violence is not the answer, which is funny coming from us, right? Professional fighters. But
Right.
sometimes it is. It's like you gotta put your foot down and like let them know that you're not gonna be disrespected. And then after that, you know, you might even get your ass beat, but there's a level of respect that comes with that, right? From taking an ass beating.
Oh yeah, I mean, Felice beat my ass whenever we fought, and you know, afterwards she was like, you showed up and came to fight and fought your heart out, and now we're cool,
Yeah. So not a lot of people
So,
know that you and Felice Herrig, Felice was actually on the show. She's awesome. She's a friend. And you and I, what year was that? Or sorry, you and her, what year was that you had your fight?
oh man, I believe that was 2011. So that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and you guys also won Best Stare Down, which should have been more aptly named Hottest Stare Down because that went viral. It was like two sexy, like completely contrasting women, right? It was like Felice, like
Mhm.
blonde hair, like looks like the Valley Girl, and then you had
Mhm.
like a sexy Ed Hardy dress on with like a
Mhm.
blonde, dark hair, blonde stripe in your hair, and like that just went
Mhm.
viral. What was that like for you?
It did.
I remember that. That was awesome.
Oh, it was so crazy because like back then going viral wasn't like a thing. So and then before that fight, I ended up talking shit about Felice because no one was giving me any love. Like I was trying to get fights, I couldn't get fights, and I was just like, well, she's getting love. Like why don't I just talk shit and see what happens? And then it happened, and then like I was out to like outdo her at the weigh-ins because I always knew that she went like to the nines at weigh-ins. She always did something crazy with these outfits, and I was like, I gotta top that. So I went and got myself an Ed Hardy dress because that was cool back then. I guess I don't know. I liked it. I don't care what's cool. I just do what I like. But
Yeah. But it was cool back then.
So yeah, and then she got my face, and I was like, hell no. And then we went forehead to forehead, and yeah, and it was just crazy because afterwards, so many people were like, oh my God, that was so cool. And then, yeah, so many people reached out to me on, at the time, Facebook was a thing, and on Facebook, and then I don't know, it was just crazy that my following on there grew, and I got more fans from it, and yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Online, yeah, obviously, social media is a lot bigger now than it was, 10 years ago. But man, social media can be amazing like that. Your fan base can grow overnight, or it could, make you want to completely quit the sport, which I've felt multiple times. Not from fighting, ironically, just from the fans, being super harsh. And I know you have to deal with the good and the bad too. So my question is, how do you deal with the negativity? Because that's a big thing. Like I was talking to Elise on the podcast, and she's just not used to it. She's young. She reads every negative comment, cries herself to sleep at night. I'm just kidding, Elise.
What?
She doesn't, but
I was like, oh
she
my
takes it
God,
to
no.
heart. She takes it to heart. And like, I do too, but you and I, our skin is a little bit thicker. We've been in the game longer. So what would you
Yeah.
suggest to the girls that read that shit and take it to heart?
Why read it? That's something I learned. Don't read comments. Like, just don't. Like, I'm not talking about on your social media page, obviously, but why look into that? Why breathe that into your life? Why manifest that into your life? And even if you do, if you're a person who cannot help it and you have to read it,
Me.
I understand that, but you got to understand these people. It's so easy to get online and talk whatever smack you want because you're not standing right in front of them. And there's people that have talked shit about me online and to my face. They're like, oh my God, Nicdali, you're so awesome. And you know what that tells me? You're a fucking little bitch. You're a weenie. You know what I mean? You do not have the balls to put in the work and do what I do. So why the fuck do I care what the fuck you think about me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
You're not out here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's the same. It's the same, I try, but even as long as I've been in the game, I still read the comments and they still get to me. But I think, and you probably don't do this, but I do know a couple people that engage with them, right? They engage with the trolls. They engage with the people that, like you said, are little bitches that normally would never say anything to your face, but when they're behind a keyboard or behind a computer screen, they feel like they're untouchable. And they are, because if we could touch them, we would. I mean, I feel like, most of the people that are being rude or disrespectful or criticizing us, couldn't do half the things that we do. And so, yeah, it's good advice not to read it. And if you can, I'd say I'd sprinkle extra advice on that. If you read it, just block, delete. Like, don't even respond, right? Don't waste your time.
yeah, I mean, no answer is the best answer, I say.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not giving them any of your energy. They don't deserve it.
So on the better side of social media, what are some of the better things, or maybe some of the funnier things that you've come across from being in the spotlight?
Some of the better things is just, you know, there's people that have been a fan of yours for a long time, and you know, they chat with you about different things that you do, and they find it amazing. And so that's also inspiring, because here you are pouring your heart into your endeavors, and they see that and they show you love, and so that's motivating and inspiring, you know. But at the same token, there is some funny, weird stuff like, oh man, like, okay, so this wasn't even on my OnlyFans. I expect crazy, weird, whatever on my OnlyFans. I do. But on Instagram, I don't expect weird things. So they were asking if I could send them a video or pictures of me fingering my belly button.
What? I did not think you were going to end that sentence with belly button. I did not see belly button coming, that's for sure.
I'm like, you just want the belly button? They're like, oh yeah, I love your belly button. I just want to see your belly button being penetrated.
You know, I really try not to kink shame on this podcast, because I'm like, you know,
Me
hey,
either.
whatever floats your boat, dude. But like, belly button, like, what? Like, do you know that part of your elbow? They call it. Well, I don't know if this is the medical term, but they call it the weenus. Anybody? No? Anybody? No. Okay, well, I've been told that this part, for you people who cannot see me pinching my elbow skin, this is called your weenus. To me, that's about as sexy as the belly button or feet too, you know? I don't get the foot fetish thing. I'm not knocking it. I just feel like of all the body parts a woman or a man has, like, really? The belly button? Why?
Yeah, I don't get the foot fetish thing, but I've talked to some people that are into it, and they explained it to me, and then I was like, oh, okay, I can see your point now.
Well,
You know?
please explain it to me, because I don't quite. I mean, I'm not
Okay,
against it. Like, if my boyfriend, you know, who I've had this conversation with, he's not into feet. He's actually against them. You know, he's like, "Ew, okay, you walk on those things all day. You know, but if he did say, hey, babe, I really like your feet, I want to do some things to him, I would be on board, because I love him. But I don't understand the
Crazy things that people
appeal.
love.
So what did your
Right.
friend tell you?
Okay, so my friend told me basically, like, you see a beautiful woman, right? Like, and you're all into her, and then you see her feet, and she has perfect feet, and it's just like icing on the cake kind of thing. Like, you see these feet, and they're so, like, okay, so men, you know, perceive themselves generally as like masculine, blah blah. So you see these dainty, beautiful feet that belong to this beautiful woman. It's just like icing on the cake. That's basically how it explained it to me, that I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Okay.
that's nice.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like, and I've heard. So what I've heard is, if a woman has nice feet, like you can tell that she takes care of her feet, then it's a good indicator that she takes care of other body parts.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
that's just what
I
I've
could see
heard.
that too. Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
you know.
I could see that.
Okay. So do you get a lot of those, like, kind of requests for interesting belly button situations? Like,
No, that was just like the one thing. I do get feet. One thing that is interesting to me is a lot of the guys on my OnlyFans, they love my eyes. Just my eyes. My butt, obviously.
On
You know, they're like, oh, your
OnlyFans,
butt's so perfect.
yeah, butts like the normal, kind of like a normal. You get a lot of requests for that, I'm
Right?
sure. On OnlyFans, can your subscribers request certain pictures or you know, certain videos?
Yeah, they can. Yeah,
Okay.
they can request custom content. It's extra depending on what it is. You know, like there's certain ones that have been in there for a long time. I'll just do stuff for them because they've been there for like 6 months plus. You know, just because, you know, you're showing me that kind of love and loyalty. So I'll do things for you. I won't do it always, but you know, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, you know, kind of thing.
Okay, cool. So you're willing to play ball. So, you know, your fans love you. But let's talk about you and your perception of love. I haven't really asked too many people on the podcast, but I want to start. So, what is your definition of love?
Love means never having to say you're sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God, I was like, please don't say that.
No, you're like, oh my God. No. All right, this is kind of long-winded. I wrote it out just because I wanted to be able to fully express it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So my definition of love is the connection that the word love implies to me. Basically, that means is what I do daily in thoughts, words, actions to hang on to that connection. To be in love is kind of like being insane. You practice love daily, expecting the same result.
Yeah, that's nice. I do feel insane when I'm in love.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? You're like constantly enamored by this person, and you're constantly talking, actions. You know, you do actions, you do daily things, daily, to show this person that you love them. I mean,
or maybe
it's insane.
to the point where sometimes you'll do things that you thought you wouldn't do, but you love them so much. So you're like, oh, I've done things when I'm in love that I'm like, well, I would never do that. I'm like, fucking love is weird. It makes you do weird things, right?
Oh, that's 100% true. 100% true.
So, have you done anything crazy for love?
Oh, girl. Okay. First, let me start off with my first girlfriend that I ever had.
What
I
age was this?
Super in love. I want to say I was 15.
Okay.
So I was super in love with her. Like, oh my God. She was just like, at the time, what I thought was like the perfect woman. And you know what I mean? And, so we were dating, and she like had this like romantic, evening plan. I basically, went to her house and no one was there. So she had rose petals, she had candles lit everywhere. And then it went to the bathtub, and she had like a jacuzzi type tub, and then she had rose petals, and it smelled beautiful in there. And we ended up, making love. And then, I'm sitting here like on cloud nine, like just chilling with her, afterwards. And then she buttered me up basically. And then she's like, hey, Nicdali, there's something I want to talk to you about. And I'm like, oh, you pregnant? No, I'm kidding. And she basically like told me that she had another girlfriend, and that I knew who this girl was. And,
what?
Basically that she wanted to have a threesome with all three of us, and that, and then and then the other girl came over, and then like we talked about it, and then we ended up having a threesome, and it was really cool. It was awesome.
Wait. My question is, you were like the girlfriend with this girl, right? Like you guys were dating officially.
Yes.
And had she been seeing this other girl simultaneously?
Yes.
So even though she was cheating on you, you still had a threesome with this other girl.
Yes.
And that's where we come to the crazy for love thing. Okay, now I get it. You're like,
yes.
Well, how was the threesome?
Oh man, it was really good. I mean, they were both hot, and it's always better. I mean, I don't know. It was really hot. It was just like lots of kissing. They, were well endowed in the boob area. They were curvy. Like, it was just, and then it's like more attention because you have two people, so then like we would rotate, like one would be in the middle, and like the other one would be on top, and the other one on bottom. So it's like, you could get love from all angles.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, is that something that you're still into, even with your partner?
I mean, not so much nowadays, but I mean, we have invited other females into our bedroom life.
Okay, that's cool. So he's cool with threesomes, and that's something you do occasionally.
Occasionally, yeah,
Yeah. What are some other things that you enjoy now? Like, I mean, threesomes are timeless, right? But what are some things that you're into now?
Menage a trois.
Yeah, like, so what I normally ask the guests are like, what kind of porn do you watch? That kind of stuff.
Well, I guess I'm freaky or whatever, like a freaky person. I have a wide variety, like I have a what do you call it? Experience palette or a palette. I have a wide
Eclectic
variety
taste.
palette. Yes, like of different things that I like. I like role playing a lot. My favorite role playing is vampire, like pretending I'm a vampire.
Oh,
And
please pause and tell me more about this because I've asked people about role playing because I know it's out there. I'm like, someone's out there being schoolgirl and teacher, or, I don't know what the scenarios are, but like, okay, so vampire. So how does this go down? Are you a vampire? What is your partner?
he's a vampire too. You know, sometimes he's not a vampire. Sometimes I turn him into a vampire. You know what I mean? We will pretend like wine is blood and like pour it on each other's bodies and you know, sip on it like on our bodies, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. So is there
Things
like an
like that. Lots of
elaborate story that
fighting.
you guys like come up with?
Girl, yeah, I'm an author, of course. My imagination is crazy. It's not like it wouldn't be interesting if we like did it all the time. I feel like, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like,
So it's a once in
you
a
know,
while thing.
well, not a once in a while thing, but it's not like every day. You know, that would
Okay.
get tiring. But yeah, but it's often enough. You know, like we do it or whatever. We do the role playing.
Okay.
So
Well, I just think that's awesome. And, just it's I feel like a lot of people struggle with the ability to communicate their fantasies to their partner, right? So like,
right.
how did you get the courage to say, "Hey babe, I want to be a vampire." Like, can you just pretend like I'm turning you into a vampire? Cuz, like I know a lot of people have these fantasies, whether it's role playing or bondage or something else, but it could be nerve-wracking to bring it up to your partner because what if they laugh at you, or what if they're not into it and then they look at you weird or something? What advice would you give to people who wanna, broaden their horizons when it comes to these different kinks, but are a little nervous about bringing it up to their partner?
My advice would be, bring it up to them casually, and you know, you just bring it up to them casually, but talk to them about it. I mean, if you don't ask, the answer is always no, right? So ask, and if they're not willing to do that, then there's always compromise. Relationships are about compromise, so I'm sure you could get what you want and they want at the same
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean?
Especially if you're
So
in love with someone, right? I mean, maybe if you're like just start dating
exactly.
someone, you might want to hold off on asking for vampire role play, right?
Right,
But if you
right.
if you've been together for a long time, just like I said earlier, right? Like the boyfriend's not into feet,
Hmm.
but like if he like sprung this new foot fetish, I'd be like, all right, I love you. Like, let me dress these things up, I guess. Let me get him a new
Want to go get a
pedicure.
pedicure?
Yeah, I'll get a new pedicure. All right, so role playing. What else are you into? I mean, you said you have the eclectic taste of porn. What is your favorite genre?
I would say my favorite genre is anime. Is like anime porn, I guess, hentai or whatever. I don't know if there's like a difference. I'm not that much of a like nerd about it to know if there's a difference.
Wait, what is the other one? So
Um,
anime and what?
hentai.
Hentai. I do not know the
I don't know if
difference.
there's a difference. I don't know if there's a difference.
We need a Jamie like on the Joe Rogan and be like,
I know,
please look up
right?
anime porn for me, sir.
But in the serious side of it, one of the reasons why I like it is because I know that no one's being sexually trafficked. No one, it's not like children. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
know without a shadow of a doubt. Like, and then on the other side of it, it's like I'm an author as well. I'm very creative. My imagination is crazy. So with anime, anything is possible. You know what I mean? Crazy stuff is possible. So I think part of it is like the wonderment, or like, whoa, like they were drawn to do that? Like, is that even possible? Like, whoa, what a crazy fantasy. Like, oh, wow. Like, whoa,
Yeah, I mean,
like,
obviously they can draw the character to do things that maybe a normal human is unable to do. Okay, so you got to talk to me like I'm a child. Well, not a child because we're talking about porn, but you talk to me like I'm
Yeah.
a newbie, a complete newbie when it comes to this because anime, what's the difference between anime and like cartoons or comics? Like, is it all the same?
Um, I believe it's the style in which they're drawn.
Because in my mind, I'm like,
That's what I
anime
believe.
is Japanese, but I
I
know I'm
believe I believe the style of drawing is. Yes, I
okay.
believe.
Maybe it like originates from Japan, and then probably
Yes.
obviously there's not only Japanese people drawing anime, you know, but
No, no, no. Yeah.
okay. So and then I mean I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna look up some anime porn when we get off of this episode. Okay, so there's anime.
I'll send you my favorite.
Yeah, send me your favorite anime porn link. Thank you very much. Thanks, Nicdali. My
You're
boyfriend's
welcome.
gonna be like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Research, babe, research for the podcast." All right. Well, okay. So since we're talking about sex, how did you learn about it? Do you remember when you were younger? If me, I learned about it. My friends were talking about it. Some people say that their parents sat them down and had the birds and the bees talk, which sounds incredibly awkward. How did you learn about it?
um. Wow. Okay. So hold on to your hat.
This is a good one. Okay.
Okay.
Oh
So
God.
I feel like it is. So my mom, for a period of time, she was a single mom, and so I was basically coming to that age where my boobs were growing, and she was getting worried, like, oh my God, I better show her, like, I better talk to her about this, you know what I mean? So, she sat me down and made me watch this documentary called The Miracle of Life.
Oh my God.
And literally, like, it's the sperm traveling up the,
Fallopian tubes.
the fallopian tube, and then the sperm meeting the egg, and then it growing into a baby, and then at the end of those who have seen this know what I'm talking about. And then at the end of that documentary, she gives birth to a baby, and like you see that whole part, like
Are you
her
serious?
giving. Yeah,
Well, that's birth control for sure.
It was. She knew what she was doing. I still extremely terrified of childbirth. It scares me more than death. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm good too. I'm good, girl. I have a dog. Good enough. I'm good.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so that's The Miracle of Childbirth is what it was called?
No, it's called The Miracle of Life.
Oh, The Miracle of Life. Yeah, okay. I'm never going to rent that. I'm never going to check that out.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, we are at the part in the show. It's time for lightning sex round. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you dirty talk in bed?
Yeah.
Spank or like to be spanked?
Both.
Biting?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, vampire. Choking?
Yes. Come on, jujitsu. Naked jujitsu.
Naked
Sex
jujitsu. Sex jujitsu.
Sex jujitsu. Best ever. Try it.
Do you watch porn? We already talked about that. Any fetishes?
Yeah.
Like foot fetish?
No, I don't know.
No.
I guess role playing fetish. Is that a fetish?
That's just role playing. That's
Okay.
What about bodily fluids?
I don't think so.
Now, is blood a bodily fluid? Because it sounds like you're kind of into the blood thing.
Well, I guess so then. I guess so.
There is a thing called blood play, which it's funny because the more I do, this is the lightning sex round, not very lightning, but the more I do my research on different kinks, I'm like, that's a thing? That's a thing? I'm like, thought I was kinky, but I am not, apparently. Okay, what about bondage, like ropes, blindfolds?
I haven't really tried it, but I would like to get into it. I'd like to know more about it. Get into it,
Yeah. All right. Butt stuff on you or a partner?
Pass on that question.
Do you use sex toys?
Yes.
Ever been
Sometimes, not always.
Ever been to a sex club?
Yes.
Ever been to a swingers party?
No.
And are you a lingerie lover?
Recently, yes.
All right. Congratulations. That's a lightning sex round.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Next, we're going to play Fuck, Marry, Kill. Now, since you are bisexual, I'm going to give you a guy one and a girl one. So you get two.
Yes,
you
thank you.
lucky girl, okay?
I know.
All right.
Okay.
So Dan and Pat Kenny, they always help my buddies help me come up with these. They gave you comic book characters. So since you're into anime, I feel like this is right up your alley. All right. So for the guys, you get to choose from Thor, Deadpool, and Wolverine. You got to choose who you want to fuck, who you want to marry, who you want to kill.
I want to kill Thor. I want to fuck Deadpool, and I want to marry Wolverine.
Well, you can't kill Wolverine, right? So.
Well, no. Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. So the females, I think this one's more fun. So you get Storm, Wonder Woman, or Catwoman.
Okay, I want to kill Wonder Woman. I want to... That's so hard. I guess fuck Storm and then marry Catwoman.
I feel
Catwoman's
like you
my
have
favorite.
a lot of Catwoman vibes to you, like like the Night
Oh,
Queen.
I love her.
So how did you get the Night Queen nickname? Such a cool nickname.
So basically, Nicdali means Night Queen, and then also I would knock people out, like in the beginning of my career. I knocked people out, and then I knocked some dudes out before, like they were small guys, but I knocked them out too.
That's pretty awesome. All right.
So, all right.
Okay, so last segment is fan questions. These are from your real fans. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, at Hector FG87 says, can you ask Nicdali from a visual perspective? She's gorgeous, but other than her looks, what makes her so attractive to people? I've been wanting her on the show for a long time. Thanks for the amazing podcast.
I say that if you're attracted to me, maybe it's because you can see my soul peering through. I try to be as real as I can be, always, you know what I mean? So maybe they pick that up. Maybe your eye picks that up, or maybe you like all my ethnicities mixed together that I have, I don't know.
Yeah.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah.
So what do you see?
You do have a very ambiguous aesthetic to you. I'm like, she could be Mexican, she could be slightly African American. Like, yeah, what are you besides Hispanic? Are you all Hispanic?
Well, I recently did a 23andMe.
Okay.
And I did that because I wanted to see if my mom was right, all the different things that I was. But so it says my nationality is Mexican American, but my ethnicity is I'm mainly Spanish and Portuguese. I'm Native American, I'm 30-something% Native American. I'm also African American, and then I'm Jewish.
All right. Very, very good.
So
mix.
there you go.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you.
At Brandon Nail 1 wants to know, very original question. What's your favorite position?
I get bored of one, so I need them all.
You need them all.
I need them all.
Sounds exhausting for your partner. Put him to work. All right. At Carnival76, do you like your feet kissed? And is it bad to have a foot fetish? There's always a foot guy every time.
Aw. No, I like my feet kissed. And no, it's not bad to have a foot fetish. I think it's endearing. Cute.
Yeah. All right. And last question from at Oceanside 0920. What's the most challenging thing you've ever had to overcome?
I wouldn't say there's one thing. I think it's a multitude of things, of probably just having that crazy, the crazy thing of your dad kidnapping you and dealing with the trauma that comes with that, and having to overcome that. I think that was probably the most difficult thing. And then also, being bisexual and not being able to express that to your family and not knowing if they're going to love you still, regardless of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I can't imagine having to come out to a family that's not accepting. I would definitely just not come out probably. But then, but then
right?
it must also be super, a big bummer to have to live a secret and not be who you really are. So, congrats on being able to come out and, be who you really are.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm coming out on your show, so.
Wait, you've come out before this, right? This is not the first time.
No. Well, I've told other people, but I've never told my mom, my family,
All
like,
right.
of course my husband knows, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And my friends. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. Like you're the first person who's really kind of, used this platform to come out or give that kind of information. So no, wow, I feel honored. Yay. This is definitely the show to do it. We are all loving and all accepting and try and be as inclusive as possible. Our motto is love, and an asshole is an asshole, really. So just try and be the best person you can be. And I think you're doing great, Nicdali. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, where can everybody find you on the social medias? I'll also include a link to your OnlyFans in the episode notes. So if you guys want to see Nicdali's butt crack, boom, click on that link.
There you go.
Okay. So where can we find you on social media?
So it's at Nicdali, Nicdali, and it's that way on Twitter. It's that way on Instagram. It's that way on OnlyFans. It's pretty much that way across the board everywhere. So not too difficult, to find me.
Okay. And who would you like to hear next on Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl?
Who would I like to hear next?
Anyone. Could be a fighter. Could be anyone.
Oh, man. It might be a challenge because she doesn't speak a lot of English, but Conejo.
Oh.
Conejo. Mazeret Reeves. She fights for Invicta.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of your friends. I've definitely seen her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Her or I don't know. Like, have you ever interviewed yourself? Like, do you ever like disclose information about yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I disclose a little bit here and there, but I told the listeners like maybe for the 100th episode or something.
Okay, well, I'll be tuning in.
It's like a year away, so yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and good luck with all the stunt work, the comic book, the modeling, all of that, and hopefully we see you in the cage again.
All right, maybe. We'll see.
All right, thanks, Nicdali. Well, now I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like role playing a little bit with my boyfriend. I wonder if I can get him to be a vampire. But I mean, come on, if sex is involved, I'm sure he's down. So I'm excited that we got to learn a little bit more about role playing and different kinds of kinks. And, I mean, come on, it's not like we want to always do missionary position. We don't always want to watch girl guy porn. And we don't always just want to be humans. Maybe we want to be vampires, right? I hope you guys enjoyed another episode of Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl. And I hope you have a great weekend. Please remember, be kind, be grateful, but don't take shit from anyone. Special thank you to our audio engineer, DJ Zole, at DJ Zole. Black Belt Collective, at Black Belt Krav Maga. Producer Nate Jackson, at Naderdamus. And our sound tech, Tony, at It's Goodmans. You can find us on Instagram at Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl and myself at Ashley MMA. Subscribe to this podcast and tune in next week to hear more tales of sex and violence.